today on 15 on 15.
The St. Nicholas Library is renovated. Plus, YMCA celebrates 60th anniversary. And we recap you on the P38 event by the United Nations right here in Aruba.
Thank you for joining us on another edition of 15 on 15 right here on Channel 15 TV with Daniela Piazzi. Let's get started with our latest local news topics. For the youngsters living in the area of St. Nicholas, their local library has served to them as a space to broaden their knowledge and meet with the community. And although the facility is not as well equipped as the National Library in Oranjestad, it is truly the only option for the residents of St. Nicholas. Therefore, the government of Aruba has finally decided to give it some much-needed attention. The Minister of Education, Michelle Hoiber-Winkler, announced this week the complete renovation of the St. Nicholas National Library.
The building at the St. Nicholas Library has existed for over 27 years, a building which is considered to be relatively new but very neglected. Since its last renovation in 2007, the structure has deteriorated substantially. However, considering the fact that it was renovated just 6 years ago, it was not exactly on the list for yet another renovation. Nevertheless, considering its current condition, the Minister of Education, Michelle Hoiber-Winkler, approved the restoration petition. Currently, there are a total of 84 educational institutes that are in need of remodeling, from which most were built quickly and cheaply over 40 to 60 years ago. Grade schools and secondary schools in Aruba are in poor shape and need more than just a quick fix. Therefore, the Ministry of Education has dedicated the past 4 years to the renovation of many institutes. When it is their turn, these schools are completely renovated so that their educational standards can match their facilities. And now it is the library's turn. The St. Nicholas Institute will receive a new coat of paint, new air conditionings, new elevators, amongst other things.
In other news, this week, Aruba's Prime Minister Mike Ayman will be joining heads of state from the entire Caribbean region in Havana, Cuba, for the Summit on Sustainable Development in Caribbean States.
Aruba's Prime Minister Mike Ayman will be traveling to Havana, Cuba this week to participate in the 7th Summit of the Association of Caribbean States, or ACS. This will be held from the 2nd till the 4th of July. Prime Minister Mike Ayman will also be joining heads of state from Curaçao, St. Martin, and Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. The theme of this year's summit will be Together for a Sustainable Caribbean. This mirrors the hard work, priority, and dedication of the Association of Caribbean States in achieving this goal throughout the small island developing states of Greater Caribbean regions. This summit is a continuation of the joint efforts for revitalization of the vision of the stronger and more united Greater Caribbean, as well as to promote sustainability, a goal that Aruba is trying to reach by 2020.
Moving forward, in late 2015, the Minister of Tourism, Otmar Odeberg, announced interest by former Major League Baseball player Melvin Mora to open a professional baseball academy here on the island. This initiative will bring a whole new type of tourist to the island, as well as give big opportunities to local baseball players and players in the Caribbean and Latin American region. Besides this project, Mr. Mora has also been very enthusiastic about giving back to the Aruban community. And together with his former team, the Baltimore Orioles, they donated thousands of dollars of equipment to the talented youngsters on the island.
On Friday afternoon, the children of the Little League baseball team across the island joined to open the 20-foot container sent by Major League Baseball team, the Baltimore Orioles. This contribution to the Aruban children came after several conversations with former baseball professional Melvin Mora, who has seen many talented players get started right here in Aruba. The containers included uniforms, gloves, hats, baseball bats, amongst other professional equipment. The young players from across the island were all smiles as the materials were given out. The Hall of Famer Melvin Mora is interested in opening a baseball academy here on the island to train up-and-coming players from the Caribbean and Latin America, a project which has been received by Aruba's Ministers of Sport and Minister of Tourism very well.
We'll be back with more 15 on 15 after a quick commercial break.
After the break, local nonprofit YMCA hits a new milestone.
Thank you for staying with us right here on Channel 15 ATV. This month, one of Aruba's biggest community organizations celebrated its 60th anniversary. The nonprofit organization YMCA focuses on positive youth development and guiding Aruba's youngsters going down a troubling path.
The YMCA nonprofit organization focuses on keeping Aruba's youngsters on the right path. The foundation organizes a variety of sport, artistic, and educational programs to keep the children active. The nonprofit organization runs completely on volunteers who are passionate about helping the island's youth. Pete Janssen, for example, has been working with YMCA from the start, and during the 60th anniversary, he was recognized for his hard work and dedication.
I've been working for the YMCA for 34 years, and the last 9 years as board member. And when I started as a board member, my goal was to set up a complete new facility here in Dakota, including the basketball court and so on and so on. And tonight we finalized this project, which took us about 9 years.
This foundation constantly involves the community by organizing family-friendly events, and they also have an after-school program to support working parents during business hours.
The YMCA of Aruba is a very big factor in the community of Aruba because, you know, over the 60 years we established a very good reputation. We cover all kind of facilities as far as youth concerned. We do after school care, we do wise care, that's the kids after school, we do homework. At night we have, as you saw, all the teams for the basketball, volleyball, and so on and so on. So we are very active, and we hope to stay that way. And we try to keep the kids from the street to do good things instead of bad things.
Turning the page, after petitions from hundreds of scientists with under 100 days to go till the Olympic Games in Rio, the World Health Organization has played down calls to move or postpone the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro in August because of the threat posed by the Zika virus.
The World Health Organization was sent an open letter signed by 150 health experts who fear that the virus could spread more rapidly around the world as a result of an influx of Olympic visitors to the Brazilian city, which has had a high incidence of Zika cases. However, a spokesperson for the UN health body said stopping the games in August would not prevent the spread of Zika. Brazil is one of almost 60 countries and territories which to date report continuing transmissions of the Zika by mosquitoes. People continue to travel between these countries and territories for a variety of reasons. The best way to reduce risk of disease is to follow public health travel advice.
On another note, today the U.S. State Department issues a travel alert to all passengers traveling to Europe over the summer in light of recent terror attacks.
The U.S. State Department issued a travel alert Tuesday to American travelers who plan to go to Europe this summer, warning that there is a risk of potential terrorist attacks throughout the region. Specifically, the State Department is warning Americans about travel to European soccer championships from June 10th to July 10th in France. The alert also mentions that France has extended its state of emergency to cover the Tour de France cycling race from July 2nd to July 24th. In late July, Poland will also host the Catholic Church World Youth Day in Krakow, and the event is expected to attract more than 2.5 million people. As a result, it says local infrastructure may be strained, and Americans should expect stricter security screenings throughout the country. The State Department advises Americans traveling to Europe to remain vigilant in public places or when they use mass transportation and to avoid crowded areas. It also says that travelers should stay in touch with their families and to have a plan in case people are separated.
We'll be back with more 15 on 15 after a word from one of our sponsors.
When we come back from the break, Aruba has a successful partnership with the United Nations.
Thank you for staying with us right here on Channel 15 ATV. Earlier this year, the government of Aruba, together with the United Nations, held the P38 Conference, an event which brought 37 small island developing states to strengthen international cooperation and discuss public-private partnerships. Here is a little wrap-up of the entire event from the United Nations point of view.
For me, partnership is when you break down barriers and you take off your institutional hat and you think, well, how do we work for a better good and to make something tangible happen? Realizing that if you work well with another institution or another individual, you're going to get much more benefits in terms of impact of the work you do. And so, you know, a lot of people will say in the Caribbean things can't be done, it won't be done, we face too many challenges. But actually, you know, there are beacons, strong beacons of light that show examples and experiences. And so I'm a great believer in partnership. I think, you know, there's far too many barriers that stop people working well together and institutions working well together.
So I think this conference is really unique in that it is focusing attention on the role of public-private partnerships and actually moving forward a specific agenda. Rarely is the focus on kind of the role of these types of partnerships. We normally focus on content, say on renewable energy or on environmental issues, but not on how we will actually kind of achieve the goals that are being set through these types of discussions. And so really focusing on how we're going to move things forward and the role of these types of partnerships in making that happen is what's really unique here and where I think we have a real opportunity to see some tangible outcomes.
It is indeed very smart to decide that some public common goals that we have and challenges that we have can better be addressed if we bring public sector and private sector together. And this can be in commercial ventures, but it can also be in ventures where we are talking about the common good.
The challenges that we face, the phenomena in our communities, they don't care about these distinctions. Is it a private solution or is it a public solution? These phenomena are integral. They pose challenges on all those fields.
One of the difficulties I have with many of the conferences, especially UN-based conferences, is that these are very good places to identify problems. But so far I have not found these to be the best places to solve the problems. That's just an observation.
And so the sort of discussions I witnessed were very tangible, very practical, and the rest of the audience were very engaged and interested in solutions. That contrasts with many other conferences I have been to, which are largely problem definition conferences. So the role of the private sector, I think, definitely made this conference very different.
My specific hope now in this particular conference is that I will see more solutions, actual impact on the people, and not just repetition of the problems that we all know.
So actually we can have smarter solutions when we bring public interests, private interests, those that govern those interests, when we bring them together, make them seek synergy, harmonize a solution, and then that solution will be smarter.
Thank you so much for watching. These were your local news updates and trending Aruba topics. Be sure to like our 15 on 15 Facebook and Instagram page for all of your latest news updates. Also, don't forget to tune back in tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. for more 15 on 15 right here on Channel 15 TV. See you then.